Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 698th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say, during the course of this battle, you're going to see a very old-fashioned, old-school spear on pike tactic. Okay, you don't see this tactic used very much these days. In fact, I haven't seen it used for a long time, but I hope you'll find it quite interesting to see that. Plus, in this battle, you're going to see a little bit of lack of battlefield awareness as well. Okay, our first teammate is brother member Pompey. Now, Pompey's got the old bog standard 31k Roman army of 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, and the reason that that's the bog standard 31k Roman army is because it's so effective and so efficient. Be interesting to see how well he uses that. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Lando. Now, just to say, Lando has got 6 Spartans, 8 armoured hoplites, 5 archers and a fast moving cavalry unit. Now, just to say that to our knowledge, this is the first time that Lando's ever bought the Greek cities faction, and this is a purely experimental army. Okay, so as I say, to our knowledge, the first time he's ever bought Greek cities, and this is a really experimental army. You'll see that he's got, if you look at his Spartans there, if you count the upgrades, you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 7 upgrades on his Spartans: an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Remember that experienced stripe lifts Spartans out of the elite bracket into the super bracket. As we know, they do really well with just gold shield, gold attack, but you put a stripe on them and it makes them super infantry. And as you can see, he's got 6 Spartan units. Okay, and I believe he's got 8 armoured hoplites. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so you've got 8 armoured hoplites there, and he's just got, I believe, 1, 2, 3, he's got 6 upgrades on his armoured hoplites, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so that is his experimental army: 6 Spartans and 8 armoured hoplites. Let's have a look at the upgrades. He's got, I think he's just got gold attack on his Cretan archers there, and unusually his general is a fast-moving missile militia unit. How often do you see a general of Greek cities being put into a fast-moving missile unit, cavalry unit? Very, very unusual. So as I say, this is a purely experimental army, and as I say, to our knowledge, Lando has never bought Greek cities before, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does with this very experimental army. Okay. Right, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Madking. Now, Madking has also got the bog standard 31k Roman army of 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. And the reason that's been the bog standard 31k Roman army for years and years and years is because it is so effective and so efficient. That's why so many people bring that particular Roman army. Our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's got his very old Greek cities army of 13 Spartans and 6 archers. Okay, 13 Spartans and 6 archers there. You'll notice that I've got 5 elite Cretan archers and 1 of the short range cheap archers there. Okay, so there's my my army there. So our team's pretty diverse. You've got Pompey with Rome, you've got Lando with his experimental Greek cities army, we've got Madking, and we've got myself. Should be a cracking battle for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Mantu. Now, Mantu has also got the 14 infantry and 6 cavalry bog standard 31k Roman army. The only difference is that he's got an eagle unit amongst his infantry, but you can see all that dark patch of grass. See the light grass there, but the dark patch of grass is the long grass, and that's where he's got most of his troops hidden, in that long grass there. But just to say, he has got an eagle unit for a bit of extra morale within his infantry. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Canary, Kurwa. Now remember, Canary's just come back from a 2-year break from Rome Total War, and this might have been his 5th or 6th battle since he's back. And he has got 14 pikes, 2 archers and 4 cavalry. Okay, 14 pikes, 2 archers, 4 cavalry. Now if we have a look at the upgrades of his battle formation there, you'll see that he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his forward units there. Well, of course, these guys are going to take the pillars, make first contact with the enemy, and lose a lot of men there. But then if you look back at his battle formation there, you'll see that the rest of his units in his battle formation have got 7 upgrades on: an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so he's kind of got staggered upgrades through his battle formation there. And as I say, that's pretty good old school battle formation. And quick look at the upgrades on his archers there. He's got 3 upgrades, so I'm guessing that's gold attack there. And let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry, and he's just got 7 upgrades: an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his companion cavalry. So as I say, this is probably only his 5th or 6th battle back after a 6-year break from Rome Total War, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does during the course of the battle with Macedon. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Barclayman. Now, Barclayman's got 15 Sacred Band Spearmen and 5 Slingers. Now, remember, this is Barclayman's faction of choice, and I think I heard somebody refer to him as the Master of Carthage. Okay, now let's have a look at his battle formation here. Now you'll notice he's got gold shield, gold attack on his forward unit. So as we said, these are the guys that are going to take the pillars, make first contact with the enemy, and are going to take a lot of casualties. So that's why he's just got gold shield, gold attack on them. But look at the upgrades of the rest of his Sacred Band Spearmen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fully upgraded Sacred Band Spearmen. 9 upgrades, 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so the vast majority of his Sacred Band Spearmen are fully upgraded. And as I say, I think some people are starting to call him the Master of Carthage. And in my opinion, I think he's probably the best player with Carthage on Rome Total War at this time. And he's got the cheap slingers there. He's bought 5 units of cheap slingers there, but they can be useful as well. So as I say, no cavalry. He's got no cavalry there. He spent all his money on his pikemen there. As I say, the bulk of his Sacred Band Spearmen are fully upgraded. Okay, and as I say, I think he's probably the best player with Carthage in the game at the moment, and the Master of Carthage. Okay, their last teammate is Brotherhood member Crypto. Now, Crypto's also got the bog standard 31k Roman army of 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. You might remember that his standard 31k Roman army was 8 infantry, 6 archers, and 6 well-upgraded cavalry. That was his old standard 31k Roman army, but here he has now gone back to the old school 31k bog standard Roman army at 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, just gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So there you go. It's funny how things go in circles on Rome Total War, isn't it? Back to the old armies kind of. So you got Mantu with Rome, you've got Canary, Kurwa with Macedon, you've got Barclayman with Carthage, his faction of choice, and Crypto with Rome. Do you think that either team has got a faction advantage here? It'll be interesting to see your thoughts in the comments. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Lando's experimental army battle formation here. Can you see he's got his armoured hoplites as his forward units, if you like. They're the ones that's going to take the casualties, make first contact with the enemy and maybe weaken them. Okay, and then he's going to bring his elite Spartans with their 7 upgrades in as it's needed there. Into the weakened enemy team. Okay, but the only problem is for Lando is he is actually facing Barclayman with Carthage, his faction of choice. And as I say, I think Barclayman is probably the best player with Carthage in the game at the moment. And poor old Lando with his very experimental army is going to take on the Master of Carthage there. As I say, Barclayman there with that tried and tested, very well upgraded army. And remember, most of Barclayman's spearmen are fully upgraded, so poor old Lando's got a lot to do. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle here, we've only just started. You can see Madking is aggressively attacking Mantu there, moving his troops towards Mantu. As we know, Madking can be extremely aggressive when he wants to be. There you are, he's throwing pillars into the forward units of Mantu there. As I say, right from the beginning of the battle here, you can see how aggressive Madking wants to be. Ran all the way across the battlefield there, straight over to Mantu's infantry. So, let's say it's always good to be an attacking player, I think, as it keeps the enemy on the back foot, and they've kind of just got to react to you. So, I think that's a good move right at the beginning of the battle there. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second. So it's just to say here, do you remember we talked when we looked at Mantu's army, most of his army were hidden in the long grass, but you can see there that he's bought an eagle unit to give a command unit bonus to his infantry. Okay, so that Eagle unit will be given a command bonus to his infantry, while he can use his cavalry general, which is a Praetorian cavalry unit there, to run around with his cavalry to give them the general morale bonus. Okay, so that's why he's got that Eagle unit there, to give that command unit bonus to his infantry, while his cavalry general can run around the battlefield with his cavalry, giving them the general morale bonus. So I thought that was quite an interesting choice of units to bring there. Very well thought through there by Mantu. Let's say there's a bit of pilot exchanging going on here between Mantu's SPQR troops and Madking's Brutii troops there. I think that'll be an interesting little tussle between these two as the battle unfolds. And to say over here, you can see Lando moving his extremely experimental army towards Barclayman, who, as I say, has been called the Master of Carthage, and that, of course, Carthage is his faction of choice. And those of you that watch our battle videos regularly will see how well he plays with Carthage. Okay, you can see here I'm moving my archers forward there. To look to target the Macedonian pikemen. Now, remember, those Macedonian pikemen are extremely susceptible to archer damage. And as I say here, I've got my Spartans on the flank of Madking there, but of course I don't really want to get involved with those Macedonians as yet. As I say here, I'd just like you to notice something here. You'll see Canary Kurwa, being the good teammate that he is embedding a pike unit in the forward unit of Mantu's battle formation. Okay, so I'd just like you to make a mental note of this. Okay, Canary Kurwa's embedding a pike unit in the forward units of Mantu's infantry there, to try and neutralise a cavalry attack on Mantu's battle formation there, because of course nobody wants to attack with their cavalry against an anti-cavalry pike unit. But I just like, because something's going to happen here later on in the battle, so please make a note that this Macedon pike unit is embedded in the forward units of Mantu's infantry. So please remember that, because it's relevant for later on in the battle. Okay. Now, as I say here, my Spartans with their short spears, yes, they've got fantastic specifications, 2 hit points, but they've only got short spears. And look at the length of those Macedonian pikes. So for me, I never do like to take on the big long pike units head on if I can possibly help it. But what I'm going to do is show you an old school, old fashioned tactic of spear on pike units. Okay, you don't see this tactic used that much these days, but hopefully you'll find it quite interesting. Nice to see a bit of old school on the modern battlefield. Okay, so here you can see, as I say, Lando's very experimental Greek cities army here facing Carthage, Barclayman's faction of choice. So this should be a very interesting tussle here, and it wouldn't surprise me if Barclayman will feel extremely confident with the army that he's got there. Okay, let's pause again for a second here. You've got these cheap short-range slingers here, but they can be useful, and especially against armoured hoplites. So I think that he'll be causing quite a few casualties with those slingers there. But it'll be interesting to see how Barclayman handles this. If he's full of confidence, he may well attack Lando's experimental army head on. He could well do that if he feels that confident, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. There you are, look. Barclayman is going to run his entire Carthage army, and bang, as he smashes in to the forward units of those armoured hoplite units of Lando's. Now remember, to our knowledge, this is Lando's first time ever bringing Greek cities, and he is up against, as I say, possibly the best player of Carthage on Rome Total War at this time. Okay, but look how a Barclayman charged forward there, straight into those armoured hoplites, full of confidence. But you can see Lando's 6-7 upgraded Spartans sat there menacingly, ready to be brought in when necessary. Remember, with that experienced stripe on, that kind of makes them super infantry. Okay, here I've got my archers here, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to target the Macedonian pikemen. Now remember, those pikemen are incredibly susceptible to archer damage, so I'm going to be targeting them with my archers. Okay, now I'd just like to show you something here. You'll see Lando moving his archers out here to the left flank. Okay, now I'm guessing he's either going to target the enemy Cretan archers, or he's going to target the Macedonian pikemen there. But if you notice, any cavalry support is quite a long way away, and when he moved those archers over there, I thought they were a bit susceptible to enemy attack. Now if you notice here, Canary, Kurwa, can you see he had his cavalry in wedge formation for more impact and more damage if he charges them in, okay, but he's taken these two units out of wedge formation there because of course in normal formation they move faster, and I think he's going to take them round the flank and smash into Lando's archers there. What do you think? Can you see the way he's positioning those cavalry? That's what I think he's going to do, because he can see we've got no cavalry support on this left flank, and Lando's put his archers in a really shall we say isolated position there, I suppose, as there's no cavalry support to help his archers. Okay, now you'll notice here that I'm going to move, you'll see I'm moving my Spartan army around a little bit because I'm trying to encourage the Macedonian general to move his pikemen around quite a lot, and the reason for that is that my archers will be targeting his Macedonians there. Let's pause again for a second here. So remember that units that move will suffer a lot more damage from archers than if they're stood still. We know those 121 man units are incredibly susceptible to archer damage anyway, but if they're moving and you shoot into them, you're going to cause them a real lot of damage, even more damage. As I say, moving units that you shoot arrows into, you cause a heck of a lot of damage to. So as I say, I'm going to move my Spartans around a little bit, trying to get those Macedonian troops to move. Here you can see just a quick look at the battle line here. As I say, you can see Barclayman there moving his Carthage Sacred Band into those armoured hoplites, pushing them back towards those elite Spartans. So that was just a quick look at the battle line at the moment. Over on the right flank, there's not a lot going on between Pompey and Crypto. If you notice over on that right flank, there's quite a gap between them. But here, as I say, you can see Canary, Kurwa bringing his companion cavalry over there to take out Lando's archers that Lando put into a rather isolated position there. Now if you notice here, as I say, I've got my short spears there, and I don't want to put them up against the long pikes of Macedon. So as I say, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try and hit these Macedonians as they're moving, okay, and that way I won't have to fight down the pikes. Now you'll see what I mean in a minute as I show you. This is an old school, old-fashioned spear on pike faction tactic that you don't see used very much. Once now, can you see here the Macedonian general moving forward towards me? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my Spartans there at an angle. Okay, can you see how I'm moving it at an angle there? I want to encourage the Macedonian general to move again. Right, let's pause again for a second here. So what I really want to do here is to try and charge in. I don't want to fight down those pikes to kill the man on the other end, because that's going to cost me loads of Spartans if I do that. Okay, but what I'd like to do is to try and hit those Macedonians with their pikes up. Okay, I say this is a very old school, old-fashioned tactic. When they move next, I'm going to run my Spartans in there, and I'll hopefully go under their pikes so that I come into contact with those pikemen. And the specifications of my Spartans are so much better than those pikemen. If I get into a sword-on-sword fight, then my guys are going to win, and I'm not going to lose men on those pikes. Okay, so can you see the tactic? I'm going to try and run under those pikes before they can get the pikes down. It's all about timing, this tactic and strategy. As I say, very old school. Okay, over here, as I say, please don't forget that what we talked about earlier, that Canary, Kurwa has put that pike unit embedded into the forward units of Mantu's infantry. Okay, please remember that pike unit's there with its pikes down. Okay, please remember that the pikes are down there, and he's put it there to stop any of our allies' troops using their cavalry to attack it. Okay, so please remember that pike unit's there. As I say, it's going to be a bit relevant just a little bit later on in the battle. But as I say here, I'm going to wait for that Macedonian battle formation to move, and I'm going to charge my Spartans in there and try and get under those pikes, if you see what I mean, so I don't have to fight down the pikes to kill the man on the other end. Right, see that Macedonian battle formation moving? Now get ready for this. And bang! As I charge my Spartans forward before Macedon can get their pikes down. Did you see that? Okay, so now I don't have to fight down the long pikes of Macedon. There, can you see my Spartans now have ran straight in there, and it's going to be a sword-on-sword fight. And bearing in mind that my Spartans got 2 hit points and a lot better specification than these Macedons, then that's going to be a pretty good move for my Spartans there. Can you see what I mean? They haven't got their pikes down yet. I've got under their pikes. I don't have to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end of the forward units of this Macedon battle formation. Of course, the rear units will still be able to get their pikes down, but I've made you know, a good start on their forward units there. As I say, the rear units to get their pikes down, and I'll have to fight down those, but the forward units I've already kind of integrated with them there. But can you see here the difference in the length of the battle formation, the width of the battle formation there? Can you see that those big 121 man units have got a very, very wide battle formation there? They always do. And my Spartans was quite a wide battle formation, but I've only got 81 men in each unit, so I'm going to be overlapped. And if I was Canary Kurwa, what I would do now is bring these 6 units of Macedonians round the flank of my engaged Spartans and come in behind me. Can you see what I mean there? That would be a good move for Canary, to bring them in there, look, and then attack my fighting Spartans from the rear and squeeze them, sandwich them, look, between those Macedon units in front of my army and the ones coming in behind. Now I'm aware of that, so what I'm doing is now I'm going to start concentrating my archer fire on these particular pike units here to try and weaken them as much as I can. But I think that would be a really good tactic there for Canary Kurwa, to get those units in behind my Spartans there. As I say, that's exactly what I would do. Get in behind there and then sandwich those Spartan units between the forward units and the ones that you bring in behind. Over here, right, now this is what I want to show you. Do you remember we talked about this pike unit that's embedded with Mantu's forward units there, with his pikes down? Okay, now I wanted you to remember this, because here, poor old Crypto, look, is charging his cavalry into the enemy Brutii troops, but he's going through this pike unit with its pikes down, and look, his cavalry are being killed by his allies' pikes. Okay, newer players to Rome Total War, you may never have seen this before, but if you charge your cavalry through allies' pikes or spears when they've got those pikes or spears down, you are going to lose loads of your own cavalry. Remember, friendly pikes, friendly spears kill friendly cavalry. Look, these are all Julii cavalry being killed by their Macedonian ally there, because the Julii generals charged his cavalry through his allies' pikes when the pikes were down. I think fair play to Crypto, like he admitted he didn't notice that pike unit there within his allies' you know, forward units. And don't get me wrong, we've all done this. This is you know, this isn't just Crypto there. We've all done this, but I just thought this was a good example here to show you of what can happen if you do that. Meanwhile, here you'll see, as I said, suggested here, Canary Kurwa was going to bring those pike units in behind my Spartans, look, and then sandwich those Spartan units between those Macedonian units there. And that could be really bad news for my Spartans. As you can see, those overlapping units are going to get in behind me and sandwich me. So what I want to try and do is take out these Macedonian units this end, if I can. As you can see there, I'm integrated with those units there. You can see both Macedonian and my men have got their swords out, so it's a sword-on-sword fight. And as I say, with my Spartans with 2 hit points and excellent specifications, a lot better than the Macedonians, then sword-on-sword my guys will win there. But I don't like what's happening up onto the right flank of my battle formation there, with those units coming around my flank. Okay, so I just wanted to show, as I say, over here about charging your cavalry through friendly pikes or spears. It's such you won't believe how many casualties that you'll suffer through doing that. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. Now you'll see Canary's just putting his pikes up now. Okay, he's just putting his pikes up now, but it's just too late now, because look at all the dead Julii cavalry, and the vast majority of these dead Julii cavalry have been killed by friendly pikes. See, you know, we talk a lot about battlefield awareness. Okay, battlefield awareness is keeping one eye on what's going on in front of you with your army and the other eye on the rest of the battlefield. Battlefield awareness. Well, I think there was a slight lapse of battlefield awareness there. Just seeing all that Julii cavalry dead on his allies' pikes there. So the Macedonian general Canary didn't have his eye on the battlefield there, because he would have lifted his pikes up as he saw his allies' spears come through. And Crypto admitted he didn't even see that pike unit embedded in Mantu's battle formation there, and he just charged his cavalry through. So as I say, this is an example of what can happen if you do charge your cavalry through your allies' pikes or spears when they're down. And make no mistake, this isn't just just showing Crypto doing that. We've all done that. But I just thought this was a good example, especially to new players. And that's all the cavalry that Crypto's got left. he had 6 full cavalry units before he did that charge, and look, that's all the cavalry that he has got left now, and the vast majority were killed on the pikes of his allies there. So as I say, that could really make a difference to the battle, couldn't it? I mean, I don't know, but it could well do. Meanwhile, over here you'll see that Canary Kurwa's cavalry has just smashed into the rear of my fighting Spartans there. Those 2 cavalry units. You can see there are some dead companion cavalry, but what's really worrying me is seeing my Spartans on that right flank of my battle formation there getting squeezed by those Macedonian units coming in behind, coming in from the flank, and coming in from the front there. It wouldn't surprise me if we start to see some of my Spartan units rout now, because look at the pressure of those long pikes coming into my Spartans there. I mean, make no mistake there, that is a lot of pressure going on there. Plus, look, this Macedonian cavalry, and bang, bang, as 2 units smash into the rear of my engaged Spartans there. So Canary Kurwa, I think, is doing a really good job on my Spartans over here on the left flank. Okay, you'll see some of my Spartan units are starting to rout already. Look, down to 4 men there. Sat down to 7 men there, really being squeezed by those Macedonian pikemen there. So what I'm doing now, I'm bringing the bulk of my Spartans up here to go into the flank of those Macedonians, hopefully try and take out that Macedonian general. But you can see there's still Macedonian units in behind me there. Now meanwhile over here you'll see that Mantu's SPQR army is fiercely engaged with, I think it's Madking's Brutii army there. But just look how Pompey and Madking's cavalry are locked and loaded. Okay, they're locked and loaded. Now remember, we only had 12 cavalry. The enemy had 16 cavalry. Okay, so the enemy had a cavalry advantage on us. We've got 12, they've got 16. Meanwhile, here you can see Lando's experimental army against the master of Carthage, Barclayman. You can see there that the Carthage Sacred Band are making good inroads. But I think that those armoured hoplites have caused the Carthaginians a lot of damage. And you can see now that Lando's brought his well-upgraded Spartans into the fray as well there. So that's quite interesting. And you can see here, what I'd like to show you here is that Pompey is really supporting his Greek city's ally here, and mainly by bringing his general over. Look. So he's giving extra general morale bonus to these Spartans there. So that's a nice move there by Pompey. Make no mistake, that was done deliberately there to give that extra general morale bonus, because he can see that Lando's army is under a lot of pressure there, and he knows that this is a very experimental army of Lando's as well. So he's supporting in there. There's the Greek city's general, that fast moving missile unit there. So he's trying to keep that close, but of course he could be picked off by the slingers of Carthage if he leaves it too close. But as I say here, it's a nice move by Pompey, bringing his general unit just behind his Spartan allies there to give him a bit of extra morale bonus. Okay, now over here on our left flank, I noticed that Mantu, I'm not sure, he doesn't seem to quite know what he's going to do with his cavalry. Now, he could smash into the flank of my Spartans as I start to engage the Macedonians. I remember thinking that. He could either smash in there, or he might be keeping his cavalry back here to support his infantry if Madking and Pompey attack with their cavalry. But I'm not quite sure what Mantu's going to do with his cavalry at this time. But as I say, I remember thinking that they looked a threat on my flank there as I'm moving my Spartans forward there into these Macedonian units. But you can see there the pressure that those Macedonian spearmen are putting on, pikemen are putting on to my, onto my Spartans there. That's a lot of pressure there. And I remember now I'm in a position that I didn't really want to be. I'm now facing the long pikes of Macedon head on with my short spears. Let's just pause the game for a second. But this is what I like to see. Pompey and Madking's cavalry. It looks to me like going to be a massive combined cavalry hit. I love to see combined cavalry hits of my allies there. And maybe looking here, they're going to smash into Mantu's SPQR infantry. But as I say, you can see they're locked and loaded in wedge formation for more penetration and more impact. And as I say here, if you notice now, can you see Mantu looks like he's moving his cavalry away from the battle scene. Now I don't know whether he's thinking about getting in behind my Spartans. That might be a tactic he's thinking of there, but with all that cavalry locked and loaded ready to hit his infantry, I thought maybe bringing his cavalry over maybe to help his infantry if they get hit might be a good idea. Here, as I say, you can see our Carthage ally there, the Carthage enemy there pressing in on our Greek city's ally, and you can see here that Crypto's brought a couple of his Julii units over, but unusually, can you see over on our right flank, Pompey and Crypto not engaged? They're just kind of like staring at each other at the moment on that right flank. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over there. But as I say here, I can see that my Spartans now are facing the long pikes of Macedon. Right, here we are. Here's a nice cavalry charge there by Pompey and Madking. Get ready for this. And bang! As the first lot goes in, and bang! As the second lot goes in there. What a massive cavalry hit there on Mantu's infantry. And actually, I think Mantu's SPQR infantry held well there. I was expecting to see a mass rout, so he did well. Now, what I'm thinking here is if Madking, if he wanted to now, he could smash into the rear of these engaged Macedonians. I don't know what you guys are thinking there. What a great move that would be. If he now moved away from the SPQR infantry and smashed into the rear of those Macedonians, we could have a hammer and anvil attack. My Spartans being the anvil and Mad King's cavalry being the hammer there. Just imagine that. That could be just an absolutely brilliant cavalry move there by and that's what he's going to do. Look, Mad King's going to do this. Get ready for this. Bang! And he smashes in there. I'm now going to push forward with my Spartans as well there into those Macedonians. That was a really nice hit there by Mad King. A great teamwork move there by him. And I'm still going to keep pressing my Spartans forward there. Now, I remembered here, I saw that SPQR cavalry moving in, and I felt sure they were going to smash into my Spartans. So I moved the bulk of my Spartans there to receive a cavalry attack from Mantu's SPQR cavalry. I felt sure that's what he was going to do. Can you see how I've turned a lot of my units to face that threat? But actually, he's going to bypass my Spartans and smash in to my Brutii ally there. So that's what he's looking to do there. And you can see that cavalry charging around. Bang! As Mantu's cavalry smashes into our allies there, cavalry. But as I say, that was a really nice teamwork move there by Mad King with his cavalry. Looks like we've just taken out possibly the Macedonian general there. That was really good work there between Mad King's cavalry and my Spartans there. Great teamwork there, I thought, by Mad King. So now it looks to me like we've taken out all the Macedonian pikes, which is a really good move for us on our left flank. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. But my army, make no mistake, has been quite battle depleted. Now I'm going to try and roll the enemy up from left to right with my Spartans. But if you look here, as I say, look at the red cloaked dead Spartans here. You can see I was really hammered by those Macedonians coming in from behind and from the front and from the flank. So as I say, my army is very battle depleted now, but I'm still going to try and roll the enemy up from left to right. You can see the enemy cavalry locked and loaded there, but just look at the Julii cavalry. That's all he's got left now after that pike attack. You can see Pompey's cavalry locked and loaded, ready to go in, and Mad King's cavalry ready to charge in once again to Mantu's SPQR infantry there. Okay, just to show you here, I thought Crypto's done an absolutely sterling job of spreading his army out. Now he's brought his general over here, look, to give extra general morale bonus to Mantu's infantry. Make no mistake, that was a deliberate act that he's done that. He's trying to spread his Julii army out all the way along the battle line, trying to help Carthage as well. Now here you'll see that Barclayman's Carthage units have made big inroads into Lando's experimental army, but I still think Lando's army has done quite well, bearing in mind they're up against probably the best player with Carthage on Rome Total War at this time. So well done to Lando there. But as I say, with the remnants of my infantry now, I'm going to try and roll the enemy team up from left to right with my Spartans, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. You can see I'm running really up there now as fast as I can to hit those SP. You can see that Julii cavalry coming in, bang, as Crypto hits, smashed into our allies' Brutii infantry there. But of course his cavalry was so weakened from earlier that he just didn't have the weight in numbers. Right, can you see, this is what I wanted to show you here. You can see here that my Brutii ally is charging his cavalry possibly through my Spartan units. Now I'm aware of this. Remember battlefield awareness, so I'm going to make sure that I don't put my Spartan spears down. Okay, I'm just going to run them in there with the spears up, and they can use their secondary weapon, the sword, while my ally runs through with his cavalry. Okay, so remember what we talk a lot about on our battles here, battlefield awareness. Okay, battlefield awareness is very, very key to a victory. Okay, so you can see there that Madking, there goes Pompey's cavalry, look, and bang, as he smashes in there as well. Look at the combination of those two cavalry hits there. As I say, it's always great to see combination cavalry hits. Right, as I say, so here, look, I've got my Spartans here. I just want to show you they've got their spears up. As I say, I'm fighting enemy troops with my secondary weapon, the sword, and my spears are not damaging my allies' cavalry in any way. Okay, so remember that. If you see your allies' cavalry coming through your pikes and spears, make sure you put them up. There you can see Crypto's general has now been routed, but there's still 43 in his unit, so I reckon that unit could come back, could rally and come back there. But that was a nice combination hit between Madking and Pompey's cavalry there. Really well done to them there. Moving up the battle line a bit further, here you can see the Carthaginians pushing into Lando's experimental battle formation there. So, but I still think Lando's experimental army there has done quite well, really. But here, as I say, we've routed a lot of Mantu's infantry there. And as I say, we're looking to roll the enemy up from left to right here. And so far, with the massive cavalry hits we've had, and my Spartans and plus the Brutii infantry, we've done well. Right, now can you see here that Mantu is charging his cavalry, but they're not in wedge formation. If you notice, they're in normal formation. Now remember, wedge formation, you get more impact, more damage if you charge in wedge formation. You just got them in normal formation there, and I thought he was going to smash into the rear of my Spartans. Okay, but it looks to me like he's going to hit my Brutii ally there. Okay, can you see there? There he goes. There's the SPQR cavalry to come. Bang! As they smash into my Brutii ally there. Okay, so I'm now going to move my Spartans up to try and help my Brutii ally, but I'm still keeping my spears down because, of course, I think Madking's got his cavalry in there. So I'm using my secondary weapon now against that enemy cavalry. Now remember, when you use a secondary weapon, it is a secondary weapon, and you'll lose more men through using that, because obviously the spear is the stronger, that's the real mainstay of the spear or pike units there. Okay, so anyway, we've chased off that enemy SPQR cavalry now, but he did cause a lot of casualties there. And you can see now that my Spartans there are moving forward onto the enemy Julii infantry and SPQR infantry there, along with my Brutii ally there. Can you see my Spartans there moving in on, as I say, the enemy SPQR infantry and Julii infantry there. Okay, so as I say, we're trying to roll the enemy up from left to right here. That's what we're doing. Really pressing in on them. Remember, those Carthage slingers will be taking giving us a lot of casualties there. As I say, I think Lando's experimental army has done well. Well done to Crypto here. He spread his army out as much as he could, trying to help everywhere. But now on our right flank, you can see Pompey looks like he's going to try and roll the enemy up from right to left here on this right flank. So as I say here, you can see my Spartans really moving in on the enemy there, but I'm aware of that SPQR cavalry in behind me. Okay, I'm very aware of that. Just let me pause the game for a second here. Okay, so as I say, for all intents and purposes, my Spartans are moving forward against the enemy Julii and SPQR units there. Can you see? That's the way I'm facing. Now Mantu spotted that. Okay, you can see I'm engaged there with enemy troops, but Mantu spotted that, and look what he's looking to do is to smash into the back of my winded, battle depleted Spartans there for a mass rout. I think that's what he's hoping for there, and you can see his cavalry is going to really charge in there into the rear of my Spartans. But I am aware of that cavalry, and you'll see once again battlefield awareness. Okay, I'm aware of that cavalry turning, so I've now put my spears up and I'm now turning to face that cavalry, and bang, as that cavalry comes in. But if you notice, I've turned my Spartans to face that cavalry just before they hit me. Can you see that? And now that's a massive battle there. Now you can see my Spartans really moving forward with their spears down against this SPQR cavalry. Look at that battle. I've got some of my Cretan archers involved there as well. I've auto-attacked them, but just look at my Spartans now taking out those SPQR cavalry there. You can see that. There you can see the dead SPQR cavalry. I mean, that was a massive hit by them. But as I say, I spotted it and turned my Spartans just in time to neutralise that SPQR cavalry attack. As I say, battlefield awareness is key when you play in a team. Okay, there. So it's very, very important there. Battlefield awareness. We talk about it a lot in the Brotherhood. and it's something that is important. Now look at Pompey here, really pushing in to Crypto's Julii infantry there, trying to roll him up from right to left, and we're looking to meet them in the middle there. Like you see, coming in from the right and coming in from the left. Okay, so here you can see that Barclayman, now bearing in mind most of his army were fully upgraded, he's only got a couple of units left, and I think Lando has just got 2 units left, and that's 2 of his elite Spartan units. So you can see here they kind of neutralized each other here, didn't they? If you look at the spear units that's left for Carthage, I think they kind of, Lando's experimental army, I think, against that massive Carthage army, I think they kind of, as I say, they neutralized each other there. So it was a kind of an even kind of battle there, I think. But you can see Pompey's cavalry over there and Madking's cavalry, and I think Pompey's infantry there. And you can see here that Pompey's just killed all those slingers. There was a lot of slingers there, so I'm thinking that Pompey's going to get some really good kills in this battle there. There was those slingers were pretty well intact when he smashed them there with his cavalry. So as I say, well done to him. I think he's probably going to get some good kills there with those slingers that he's killed there. And as I say, my army is extremely battle depleted, and there's just a couple of units there left of Julii infantry there, and you can see that they've now routed. So let's just pause the game for a second here. So it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle. But as I say, Lando, look, has just got 2 units left from his experimental army. 2 of his well upgraded Spartan units. That's all he's got out of his entire experimental army. So as I say, I think the Carthage army and Lando's experimental army there, look at the dead there. Look, you can see, I think they just kind of cancelled each other out in that battle. So that was pretty good for Lando there. You can look at that long line of dead there. You can see the armoured hoplites and the Carthaginian dead there integrated with each other there. So that just goes to show how tough the battle was. And as I say, it's quite a spread out battle with lots of dead all over the place there. If we come over here on the left flank where my Spartans were fighting the Macedonians there, you can see here, as I say, the red cloaked Spartan dead always stick out on the green battlefield there, on the grassy battlefield there. Just look at that mass of my Spartans there that were sandwiched between those Carthaginian between those Macedonian units that came in from the front, the flank and the rear. Just look at the casualties that they caused me there. And as we move up the battlefield, there's that Brutii cavalry, where Madking charged into the rear of those Macedonian pikemen, so we had them in a sandwich attack, hammer and anvil, with my Spartans being the anvil and Madking's cavalry being the hammer. As we move further on through the battle line here, you can see the dead here. As we move, you can see the intensity. There's that pile of Julii cavalry that were killed on their own pikes. As I say, don't make no mistake, we've all done this, but I just thought it was a good example, especially to newer players of Rome Total War. Never charge your cavalry through allies' pikes or spears when those pikes and spears are down, or this is what will happen to your cavalry. Okay, you saw what was left of poor old Crypto's cavalry after he did that. He just had a few units left that were extremely battle depleted. So. And there's a dead big pile of SPQR cavalry that smashed into the back of my Spartans towards the end of the battle there. You can see how many of those SPQR cavalry and my Spartans managed to kill there. It's like a carpet of dead there. As we move on up through the battle line here, you can see, and then we come into the Carthage versus Greek cities Lando's army here. You can just look at that massive battle line of dead, where they were, as I say, I think they really, in the end, they seemed to cancel each other out, really, didn't they? So that's pretty good, bearing in mind that Lando just had an experimental army. And if you notice here, can you see how these dead Julii troops here have got their shields stuck up in the air there? They went down. See how their shields are just like kind of stuck in the grass as they fell dead there, as you can see. So as I say, it was a pretty intense battle there. And you can see there by the piles of dead from one battle line to the other, as I say, the intensity of the battle there. And as I say, I think Lando just got 2 units left. That's all he's got left. And you can see how battle depleted my army is as well. Yeah, I've got a few units left, but they are very battle depleted. Those Macedonians really did do a job on a lot of my units there. And you can see, I think, is that Pompey's, you know, that's Madking's general unit there. But if you notice, the only unit left, the only man left in that unit is an urban cohort. So his general was killed there. So, as I say, it was a kind of a real battle of attrition as well, really. Now, do you think this is going to be an average battle, or do you reckon it to be a close battle? Looking at the units that's left, which do you think? Which way do you think it's going to go here? I'm not really sure, really. But, I think there's just a couple of Macedonian units. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's just admitted defeat there now. So, as I say, it looks like our team's managed to go on to to win the battle there. Okay, so first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. And as you can see, it was an average victory. I thought it might have been close, but we must have just edged into average there. And the highest kills in the game goes to my old-fashioned Spartan army and old-fashioned battle formation there. So I thought that, you know, didn't do too bad for an old army and an old battle formation. And I hope you enjoyed that old-school, old-fashioned spear on pike battle tactic. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was something a bit different to show you there. You don't see it often used these days. So I'd like to say well done to Crypto. Obviously didn't get the kills that he wanted to there, but if you notice, he was really spreading his army out, helping all his teammates as much as he could with his army. So he did really well there. As I say, he did really good teamwork all the way up and down his battle line. Well done to Barclayman there, got some good kills with his faction of choice. Don't forget, he is the master of Carthage. And well done to Canary, Kurwa with his Macedonians. Bearing in mind he's had a 2-year break, got the highest kills in his team with his Macedonians, and a lot of those would have been my Spartans. And well done to Mantu, got some good kills there as well. So really well played, guys. Really good good kills. Well done to brother member Lando, got some good kills with his purely experimental army. As I say, none of us can remember him ever bringing Greek cities before, so I think he did really well with that experimental army. Well done to him. Well done to Madking, he was helping all over the battlefield and did some really strong cavalry hits. And well done to Pompey, second highest kills in the game, got some really good kills there, and really good job of taking out those slingers, because they were causing us a lot of casualties all the way through the game. So well done to him. So really well played to everybody in the game. Quite a diverse battle maybe. We got 2 Greek cities, Rome, and they've got Rome, Carthage, Macedon and Rome there. So I hope you enjoyed this battle. Please leave a comment if you did, or maybe give us a thumbs up. I look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.